Okay, so I know I needed to make this video at some point because it would not be fair to the people who watched my previous Hut 8 video, but I simply just need to say that I was wrong, and I'm sorry. I failed to give an accurate representation of this company, and there were certain things about Hut that I did not explain correctly. And so in this video, I want to talk about the things I got wrong, provide the facts about these things, and give my honest opinion on whether or not this company is truly a buy after reconsidering the facts about Hut. The last thing that I want to do is mislead people, and so I want to make sure that I make it right. But I hope that this encourages you to do your own research, making sure that what YouTubers are saying is actually accurate. Because the reality is that we are going to get things wrong. And I want to thank Barstool Clips for calling me out and correcting me when it came to my initial analysis of this company. Now with all that said, let's talk about some of the things that I got wrong. First, I mentioned that the company not only mines Bitcoin, but Ethereum as well. And because I believe Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin, this is a great diversification for the company. The problem is that the company doesn't hold Ethereum on their balance sheet. Their Ethereum gets converted to Bitcoin. Now Hive Blockchain, which is another Bitcoin mining company, mines and holds Ethereum, but they are not the same as Hut 8. But why would Hut want to mine Ethereum with a payout in Bitcoin? Well, I'm glad you asked, because at first glance, this makes absolutely no sense in my opinion. What this allows Hut 8 to do is actually reduce the cost of their Bitcoin mining, therefore leading to better margins down the road. By converting Ethereum to Bitcoin, which corresponds to about 15% of their total Bitcoin production, their average cost to obtain each Bitcoin is about $2,500. Now this doesn't include the other 85% of total Bitcoin production, which is much more expensive, but it still definitely helps lower the cost. Lastly, I said that if Bitcoin and Ethereum crash, that Hut 8 wouldn't have another vertical to lean on. Even though digital mining is their main revenue source, the company also has hosting fees, which they get from people using their data centers. Now I do want to note that the revenue generated from this segment is not great, but there's still revenue nonetheless. Over this past year, they generated about $174 million in revenue, and $165 million came from their mining operations, while their hosting services generated only about $8.5 million. But I do see this segment's revenue accelerating, especially after they signed a partnership with Enthusiast Gaming. So it appears that they are really trying to focus on the metaverse, blockchain gaming, and Web 3.0. Over time, this could generate solid amounts of revenue, but as of now, I'm not seeing it. So looking at this company correctly, do I think that they're a buy? Not right now. To clarify, I'm not saying this company isn't undervalued, but I do think that there are other companies more undervalued than Hut. First, during their last earnings call, they said that their average cost to mine a Bitcoin is around $17,000. CleanSpark has energy costs significantly lower with their wholly owned facilities. These facilities, which are about half of their miners, mine at about $4,500 per coin. Secondly, the company has 158 million shares in their float and 171 million shares outstanding, which is more than Riot and Marathon, two of the most well-known Bitcoin mining companies in the world. That is significantly higher than CleanSpark as well, which is my favorite Bitcoin mining company. When compared to other companies who have lower amounts of shares, their EPS or earnings per share could be limited. To find EPS for a non-dividend company, you take the total net income and divide it by the total number of shares. And one of the most common metrics, the PE ratio, is dependent on the company's EPS. This doesn't mean that the company will produce poor earnings, because I firmly believe that Hut will improve their net income over the next 3 to 5 years. But for a company like CleanSpark, who only has 40 million shares, it will be easier for them to achieve greater EPS than Hut 8, which could lead to the possibility of a lower PE ratio. For example, if both companies produced $50 million in net income for the year, CleanSpark would have a forward PE of 5.4, and Hut 8 would have a PE of 11.6. Now, of course, this doesn't include the growth for each company, but when it comes to simple valuation, CleanSpark would appear to be the better choice if growth rates are similar. Now, honestly, I don't know what each company is going to produce for net income for the year, but I am expecting CleanSpark to at least have $50 million in net income for 2022. With all that said, I do believe that at some point, CleanSpark will dilute shareholders and increase their share count, but not to the extent of these other miners. The second thing about Hut that I don't like is their overall projections. Unlike other Bitcoin mining companies, Hut 8 hasn't really shown big projections over the next year. They have expectations to reach 3.35 exahash by the end of the quarter, which is great, but I couldn't find any projections for the entire year. However, if you can find their outlook over the next few years, please let me know in the comments down below. Now, this may not matter down the road if they continue to execute well. But without an outlook for this company in a sector where there are so many different ways to utilize and mine Bitcoin, it is difficult to determine what this company will generate in revenues over the next couple of years. Hut 8 is the kind of company that holds almost all of the Bitcoin that they mine. CleanSpark, on the other hand, sells a lot of their Bitcoin to get new facilities and miners to improve their overall hash rate. So not being able to come up with accurate projections for this company makes me a little more hesitant to buy shares. But I do believe that this company will perform well, not just from their mining, but also from their other hosting facilities and new partnership to expand into the Web 3.0 and metaverse space. Lastly, as investors, we want to pick the stocks that we believe will give us the best return on our investment. That means that even though the company could be outstanding and generate incredible numbers, their valuation compared to other companies could make people not want to be investors in this company. Even though I see this company as being undervalued, it is not the most undervalued Bitcoin mining company in my opinion. With CleanSpark and Hut 8 both generating about 2 exahash at the end of last year, Hut 8 has over twice the valuation that CleanSpark does. And at the pace CleanSpark is moving, I don't think that they should be valued half that of Hut 8, never mind a quarter of Riot and almost a sixth of Marathon. So what am I doing with this company? Honestly, Hut 8 is a great company, but with the competitive space and lack of projections, I don't see myself getting into this one anytime soon. I still think Hut 8 is undervalued, but there's greater potential elsewhere. They have a significant amount of shares outstanding, which means that there is less opportunity to finance by dilution if they need cash. And if something were to happen to Bitcoin where it falls below $20,000, they would be in a really difficult position. And until I see how their other business segment will generate solid revenues to support the company, there's no major reason for me to be a shareholder. I also have a sizable amount of money already in the Bitcoin mining space, so I don't want to increase my exposure. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, it would mean a lot to me and the channel if you hit that like button. Also, I would love to hear your thoughts about Hut 8, so feel free to leave them in the comments down below. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, that way you are notified when new content comes out. Hope you all enjoyed the rest of your week, and we'll see you in the next one.